It's your girl Rose. Welcome to Rose Diaries Part 1 of many, hopefully. Been blessed to be able to take part in studying abroad when last year, 2024, spring 2024, I was able to travel to Italy for most of that semester long. I took so many things away about myself and about the world and experience and that closeness with yourself, because it is a process of learning how you travel and how you experience life. Because sometimes you overthink, maybe, or I'm adventurous, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that all the time. But sometimes, like when you're in a new setting, like me, I get very anxious and overthinking, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, I don't know anybody, I'm gonna be scared, blah blah. This forces you to just do it. Like, it just really, because you're in a new place and there's no real expectations, it really forces you to, I don't know, take a leap and go into the future. Wow, that sounds really preachy, but it's not always like a fun time when you're getting out of your comfort zone. A difficult process for yourself mentally. It can be for yourself mentally, and there's a lot of people on the trip, like study abroad students, who did have like a harder time than others, because it was their first time traveling or being by themselves without family or friends that they knew in a familiar area. Of course, it was hard. Sometimes I felt that way too, or like homesick. So there's just a lot of feelings within like studying abroad to a new country, kind of by yourself. I mean, for me, thankfully, I was able to travel with some other students from my school already, so I kind of knew people, at least like traveling the airport and just the logistics of everything. That was good to have, because I know I wouldn't be too overwhelmed if that was my first time doing that. I think now I could probably go back and do something like that by myself, but for the first time it was really good to have other people with me. So I can make more in-depth videos of the logistics of traveling, any tips or advice that people are looking for when they're going to do study abroad, or just in general traveling to Italy, because I had to watch YouTube videos, and get some advice on how to travel before I did it, because it's just a lot to learn. But other than that, let's just talk about the fun things in this video, because it was a really fun experience, and I hope that a lot of people can take away just doing it because you want to make these videos about. It's just like, even though you're scared, just to jump in and do it. You're never really gonna regret trying, because every experience is new and always something to learn about yourself, which I think is a good part. Always also something to learn about like other people and how you interact with them, how you interact with the world. I'm so philosophical, I know. Okay. My time traveling in these 4 months that I was there, I traveled all around Italy. So I got to go to a lot of the main cities that a lot of people like always are like, oh my god, did you get to go to Rome or Milan or Florence and Venice and all that. So I did go to all like the kind of touristy parts, but we went to smaller cities as well, and it was a really good time all around. Also, just spewing a lot of information, but I'm also studying Italian in school, and so that's one of my main goals, is to be able to fully use it, and fully, maybe someday, actually not maybe, I will end up being at least decently fluent in the language, so I can like stay there for a long period of time and adjust to the life. Also, I forgot to mention, but I'm also going to be doing my makeup at this time, so that if you want to just watch me do my makeup too, and you don't really have to listen to anything I'm saying, and do that. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I talk so much when I do this. I think it's because I'm nervous about like what I'm going to say or not say, and I want to have all the information for you guys. It is just like a main video of this part, so if there's anything that I can talk more in depth about, I can make more videos about just like roommates and living in Italy for a long time. The primer that I'm using on my face, and my first thing I do is my eyebrows, because I need them to be like, I do them myself, so that's probably why they look kind of jacked right now, because I haven't had time to do them. But other than that, gonna go in with this eyeshadow, and I used like this dark one over here for my eyebrows because why not? The things that really surprised me about living in Florence was just how busy it is, of like how many people are around. So lively, that's the word. Favorite parts were just strolling around, really kind of getting lost in the scenery and things to look at, like the different types, the textures of the buildings, the cobblestone streets, horse carriages around. It's a very touristy place where we were. People selling things. There's a lot of restaurants, and like people at these restaurants, like the owner and everything, like they're always like standing outside wanting people to come in. So they say things like ciao bella and all these other things. It's just a fun environment to be in. Yeah, the main cities where it's very populated with tourists and everything, there's just so many people from all over and all the time too, because every day there's, even when it's raining, people just come here and flock here to see these historical sites and everything like that. There is the Uffizi that we did get to go see and go in. It was really pretty. But there's beautiful gardens that aristocrats and everything, they hung out in these like beautiful gardens back in the day. So everything is just, in Florence, everything is just so like olden. The Ponte Vecchio, and that's like, it just stands for like the old bridge, but like cobblestone buildings and streets and like little cafes, little pizzerias. And I just genuinely loved being in that environment because like there's always something new to see. Concealer from Il Makiage. I love Il Makiage. It's one of my favorite brands of concealer and foundation. This is the flavor of pistachio gelato. Like, first of all, gelato, and then the flavor pistachio, which I'm not usually familiar with. And in the States, we don't usually use, that's not like a popular flavor of things. And then gelato, I didn't know was like so good. It's one of my favorite things in the world now, is like pistachio gelato. But I was misinformed, and I thought it was like just ice cream, but it's like, it's more than that. It's just so, I'm in heaven just thinking about like the places that we went to, like the many gelato places that we went. A place called Venchi. It was so good. One of my favorite types of flavors is fruit. I love fruit. The flavor that took the cake was definitely had to be pistachio. It's just so darn good. So I'm gonna use this palette, the Golden Hour palette. I'm gonna use this dark palette shadow, and then horizon, and then I'm gonna do a pink like inner eye, but you'll see the vision. There is this place called Piazza della Repubblica Square, and it had this beautiful carousel. This was the main center of where people gathered to hear performers and musicians for so many miles, just walking. Either our classes, because our classes were in just like buildings, and it wasn't a campus that I went to. Like my university in Italy was not a campus, it was just like buildings. And then we lived in like residential apartments, so we were around like local Italians who just lived there. Such a fun way to really step into a different life than yours. Travel a lot when I'm older, it's just because I don't like to stay stagnant in one place for a long time. I say that, but I also don't like the logistics of traveling either, though. It's a rough time. Yeah, so other than that, on our street there's a lot of like Indian food, kebab places. There was like both ways from our place, so we could walk down and get some like sushi or Chinese food and that way, and then there's like Indian food. I was surprised I guess, because I was expecting to just be like pizzerias or something all around, but yeah, that was fun. I was really glad that there was like a lot of different options to eat. And in most of the cities that we went to had like good options for eating and stuff like that. Next, I want to go in with an eyeliner. This eyeliner, I think it's Tarte. This Tarte eyeliner. Like using the buses and trains. That is so. It was one of the best parts, actually, surprisingly. And I say that because I have a hard time using public transportation because I get really overwhelmed with stuff like that. Like, again, I get overwhelmed with like logistics of doing things. I have to force myself to be like, okay, let's look at train times. This app called Trainline, That was really helpful. Me and my roommate, we both wanted to go somewhere for our like first trip, but we wanted it to be like kind of within Florence. We didn't want to go too far out yet. And so somebody told me about this beautiful place called Piazzale Michelangelo, and that's where it's on a huge hill, and you can oversee like a lot of the city of Florence, and it was just so beautiful. Somebody told me to go during the sunset time, and oh my god, it was so beautiful. And that was one of the moments I was like, because again, traveling isn't always the fun. So, and this is one of the things that you kind of have to keep in mind when you're going to a new place, is like, you might instantly, when you get there, you might feel like, oh, this was a bad idea, like I shouldn't be here, like imposter syndrome almost, because you're like, oh, I'm here, but also what am I doing here, like how did I even get here, what's going on, did I just close my eyes and I'm here? That's kind of the feeling you get. We got to the Michelangelo spot, and we could oversee like the whole of the city. I was just like, this is the reason we're here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so cool. Just take in these moments, and I really did. Obviously we had to get a few photos and videos here and there, like every other tourist that was there. Like, there was just a crowd of people. It was really hard to like get a spot to like really look at everything. There's also just people like sitting down, and it was a very like romantic spot as well. Like, there's a lot of couples just enjoying the moment, and it was very beautiful. There's a statue of David on the top part in the center, and then there's like stairs that you can go down. There's a lot of people playing music, and it just like happens out of nowhere. Like, people just start playing, and then it's just like such a beautiful time because it's not really planned either. I think that's one of my favorite parts about just the experience that I had there, was just there's how unplanned all these things that happened. One of my favorite cities that we actually went to was Milan, because we got like an adventure out of it. We just met these random people, and they showed us around the city, and it was just such a fun time. And I think that's one of the best parts about stepping out of your own comfort zone and just allowing life to be what it is. I sometimes it's hard for me to like concentrate on one thing at a time, like multitask. So anyway, we are going to go in with this mascara from CoverGirl. Whole school, no matter where you are, in my opinion. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's just like, you have to wake up and get to these places, do homework for them, there's tests. I think one of the only things I found was better there than here was that the classes were once a week for most of my classes, except for my Italian class. I did take Italian over there as well, so that was twice a week. But I understand, because languages, you really have to like put in the work. Not to say that the classes weren't good, I'm just saying like it's still school. Like, you have to sit there and listen to people talk. None of my classes were in Italian except for my Italian class. One of my favorite classes I did take was a cooking class, and that just relates I just got to like learn about so much of Italian culture and history, and how the regions are so different but also related to unification of Italy, because it has recently been unified, which I didn't even know. Like, I thought it was always country, but it was recently unified, as in like it was made of one whole, instead of, because it used to be just divided into different regions. So I that was really interesting, and we got to learn about all like the influences that were taken from all these different cultures, and how it makes like the main culture of Italy. And we got to cook the food from each place, and we got to learn like the ingredients that they use, and how minimal it is, but how like impactful each ingredient is, and how like natural it is to use these ingredients, because it was grown in like these specific areas. And then you get to learn about why that ingredient is only grown in that area, And I realized cooking is actually really fun. The food was really good when you don't actually have to cook for yourself. That's the kicker, is like, I don't like to cook when I'm home, but I did like to sit there and listen to the guy talk, and then like I got to cook afterwards. And it's not like it is following instructions, but also you just realize like how fun it is to make something for yourself. Go in with this shimmer, so I think it's really pretty. This pink shimmer called Pink Sands, in the inner corners of the eye, as such, as so. In the inner corners right here, so, and then bring it out a little bit to the middle part, like so, and then there we go, something's starting to make sense. Makeup has always kind of made sense, but also I love accentuating the middle part. Like, this is so beautiful, and then this part is like darker. That's one of my favorite looks. Now I'm gonna go in on my face. We're going with the Il Maquillage foundation. I'm gonna spray my face before I do that. With a beauty sponge, we're gonna go in. Oh, so almost forgot to talk about this really interesting place called the Odeon. It was, I would say like 5 to 10 minutes away from our apartment. And when I tell you, this place like low-key changed my life, of like how conveniently placed and how beautiful it was inside. Well, the Odeon is a bookstore and a theater all in one. And you're thinking to yourself, how's that even happen, and how's that possible? And it is such a genius idea because there's good ambiance of, there is a film going on. It's usually played either black and white films or a like not silent film, but like it was like olden films, like vintage films, Disney films. And those usually were on Sunday. I had some people in my classes and like just around, and so I would always show them like, hey, this is the Odeon, like this is the place to be at. You could study there. I was like, how are they gonna make a movie theater and a bookstore? Like, how's that gonna work? Because a bookstore is supposed to be quiet. People studied there all the time. They brought their laptop and they're just sitting there, and that's what we did actually. And we like, people talked during stuff, but you could also hear the film. You could just go around because the bookstore is down below and then the seats are above. So you could just go down and below and look for books if you wanted to. But yeah, you could just sit down and watch the movie as well, because they'd be playing any type of film. It wasn't just like the black and white. The Odeon was free in the daytime, and then they would have like theater where you have to pay and stuff at night. And that's when like the actual like movies that are coming out that you'd have to pay for and stuff. That was only like $7 or $8, to be honest. And if I ever go back to Florence specifically, I will definitely check it out. So I put some white under my eyelids. I don't usually do this. There was another beautiful library. There's like 2 libraries specific that we went to, and they were really fun, really big, like structures, like and then you get to see, some of the libraries had like outdoor seating, and you got to see like the Duomo from there and like the other parts of the city. One of the coolest parts was going to the many markets that were around. It was definitely specifically for like tourists, because they're just like selling so many things all the time and being like, hey, you would love this. One of the things that you have to remember when you're traveling as a foreigner, in these places, is that people are going to try to sell you things so quickly, and they're going to try to like, I don't know, let's make it sound so good or whatever. And just be careful. Like, if you've never done that before and you didn't know what you're doing, or you feel like very like rushed, don't feel like you have to. People are gonna like try to stop you and tell you things like their story and all that. Actually, quick story time. Our first week we got there, we were strolling along. We had like just gotten gelato. We had just actually eaten one kind of go-to pizza and pasta like restaurant. That was like a family-owned restaurant. That was like our first restaurant, like Italian restaurant that we went to, and it kind of just was our like go-to after that, of like, because they gave us like just this amazing margarita pizza for our first night. And usually it's common for, if you order a pizza and it's like a big, it's not big, but it's like a whole plate of pizza. It's not like sliced or anything. It's like just a whole plate of pizza. Eat all of it by yourself. You don't like split it with somebody. And I didn't know that, splitting everything that we had. Also, that Michelangelo spot that we were at, we went to like a really fancy restaurant for our first time. For me and my roommate, we split like a gnocchi dish with truffle like spread on it, and we like split it. And so, oh my god, it's so hilarious. It gave us our own separate bowls, but there's this much of the gnocchi and stuff because we split the plate. Yeah, and it's because it was expensive. Like, it was really expensive, and I was like, I'm not paying that, for our first meal. Like, I was like, what? Because we're trying to save money for like our bigger trips and stuff. So why would we pay that much? Like $18 for one bowl of pasta and stuff. But oh my god, it was so funny when we saw it. We were like, that's how much we're eating. Funny and goofy of us. We did not expect that, so that we know for next time, just order the pasta, which we did after. Take the plunge and just get the full pasta. Thank you. So back to what I was saying. We were walking along the Ponte Vecchio. We had just eaten. We were walking to the sides of the Ponte Vecchio where our apartment was, where the Duomo was, and on the other side is like where the gardens, the Aboli garden is. At night was just like amped up, in my opinion. It's one of the most beautiful settings ever at night, because the lights are shining. The bridge has lights on it as well. I can't even imagine how beautiful it is during Christmas time too. So that's one of my goals, is to go back during the winter, or to be there during the winter, walking and strolling. And then this is our first time like kind of running into somebody, I guess. But he was trying to sell something. That was my first time. Thankfully my roommate was there, but the guy was just really talking, and it was, at first it wasn't like unsettling. It was just kind of like, okay, like he wants to tell us about his life a little bit, and I was like, okay, because you can meet strangers anywhere and have a conversation. Like, that's kind of what we did a lot of the times when we travel to other places. Can become friends with strangers for sure, but sometimes you got to be a little bit like kind of understanding like who they are and stuff like that. And I think I have a good read on people. But so I knew this guy was, I didn't know if he was trying to sell us something. There was a motive, I guess, for talking to us, because we were just kind of randomly stopped, and then he started to talk about his life, because he was from an African country. I forgot which one actually, but I was like, I'm from Ethiopia and blah blah blah. And then so he got to talking about like just us being like related in some way, I guess, because we're African. I don't even know, but yeah, he was just kind of talking, and I was just like, okay. And then kind of random, and and then he started to pull out his like bracelets and stuff, and then we were like, oh, okay. And then my roommate friend was like, because I have a little bit of a hard time saying no to people like that, or just like walking away from people if they're having a conversation with me, because I'm like, I don't be rude, like, shoot. But also, it's not rude. If you feel uncomfortable talking to somebody, you can just definitely, especially if they're just stranger coming up to you, you can definitely, and you should, if you feel uncomfortable, to just walk away. And I was going to, but I didn't want to do it so abruptly, I guess. I was just going to be like, okay, thank you, but my friend was like, come on, we're going to go. And it's the fact that we were going, like, the same way, I guess, or I don't know if he's going to leave us or go a different way. So I was just kind of like, I didn't really know what to do in that situation. So I was really glad I had somebody there, because definitely don't go out alone. Solo traveling is a thing. You can definitely do that. I'm just saying, like, just know who you are, before doing that, because if you've never traveled by yourself or never gone out in a new environment by yourself like that, and you don't know how you react to stuff like that, just definitely, like, if you can, try to find somebody to go with you. And you don't know people, and you don't know what they're gonna do and stuff like that. You can always try to have just good intentions for sure when talking to people, but you don't know what their intentions are, so just keep vigilant. But yeah, he was trying to sell us something. He was trying to sell us bracelets, and I didn't register that until he started to bring out his bracelets. And then we were like, okay, cool, bye. And then he was gonna sell us it, but then he was like, oh, because you guys are so nice, or this was such a good talk, because we did talk for a bit. He was like, here, I'll give you these bracelets for free, or give them to your family or whatever. And we were just like, okay. So random. If you wanted to give us a bracelet for free, I was like, okay, thank you. And I did feel a little bit bad, because I was like, I don't want to take this from you, but also, okay, we're just go. Yeah, and that's my little story. I have this blush that I use. I forgot what it's called, but I really like it. It's really fun. I love putting on makeup. It's just such a fun time. And this is really dark for some reason. Just have to spread it out, hopefully. I usually just put like a few dabs on both sides, and then we have it. Voila! I went to Siena, we went to Pisa, and we went to Lucca as well, in that same similar area. And I think Siena was a lot more quieter, and it was just really pretty. Oh, I definitely added too much. Let me just some more concealer. Okay, so yeah, Siena was really pretty. I think that was like one of our first trips outside of Florence and stuff. Like, it wasn't as full of people, like crowds or tourists and stuff. People did go to see like the Duomo in Siena. I didn't know there's so many different Duomos in Italy. Like in all these different Italian cities, like there's just like, they're called Duomos, like churches, big churches. Very beautiful. Trains were so fun. I think for that, I'm just gonna do my lips. Leaning Tower of Pisa was really fun. I loved getting to see like types of city life, because no two area was the same. It's just different every which way you go. So I definitely say try to go to a lot of the different regions and experience them separately for yourself. And these things. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show my liner. Hair Nova, really good. And then I don't really know what this lip plumper, I don't really know exactly what brand or anything like that, but love it for the lips, love it for the lips. A bit of shimmer to my nose, and it's done. I'm gonna just spray my face one more time, and then we'll be on our way. I did spray that way more than necessary. Gosh. Okay, and that is the finished look, and that is kind of my finished retelling of my time in Florence, Italy. I think Florence is a good place to like stay if you are thinking about staying there traveling in Italy for a long time. I really want to be the type of channel that's just there to like have chit chats with about anything, because I really like to talk and blabber and everything like that. I really like this makeup. Hope you guys have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.